General Hospital spoilers for Tuesday, January 20th. Predict we open this chapter of the story knowing that everything feels slightly off balance, as if one wrong decision has already set several others in motion. We sense it most clearly through Alexis, because her choice is not loud or dramatic on the surface, but it is heavy, complicated, and likely to echo through every corner of Port Charles. By helping Willow walk free after the shooting of Drew, Alexis does not simply bend the rules. We believe she steps into a moral gray zone that she knows all too well. And this time the cost may be far higher than she anticipated. We can almost feel her hesitation before she acts. The moment where she understands that protecting Willow means standing directly against Michael and possibly placing a target on his back. The irony is painful. Alexis has always tried to justify her decisions as necessary evils. But here we sense she may already know she is making a mistake. Even so, she moves forward, perhaps because she sees no other path left to her. With Willow free and suspicion still hanging thick in the air, it becomes disturbingly easy to imagine the police shifting their focus toward Michael. From the outside, it makes sense. Michael has motive, proximity, and history, and in a town like this, perception often matters more than truth. We can see how the narrative begins to form around him, even if the evidence is thin or circumstantial. Alexis may realize this too late, especially when Sonny comes to her, his presence alone carrying the weight of confrontation. When Sonny questions her, it is not just about the law. It is about loyalty, family, and consequences. Alexis may try to defend herself, but we suspect she cannot fully convince even herself that this was the right call. Sonny, for all his power and influence, is possibly unable to fix this problem immediately. Timing matters, and right now, the situation is already slipping beyond control. As we follow Sonny away from Alexis, we're drawn into his next likely conversation, one that feels inevitable. Sonny and Dante find themselves facing each other again, bound by blood and duty, yet divided by the badge. We imagine the tension in that room as they discuss the possibility of Michael's arrest. Dante, as both a son and a police officer, is caught in a familiar nightmare. He does not want to be the one to put cuffs on Michael again. We can hear the conflict in his voice, even if he tries to keep it professional. Yet the question hangs there, unanswered and deeply unsettling. If not Dante, then who? As the representative of the PCPED and the temporary police commissioner, Dante cannot simply step aside. His role demands action, and his conscience demands restraint. This inner battle is likely to define his next moves and possibly fracture relationships that have already been strained too many times before. While these conversations unfold, Michael is not oblivious. We see him starting to worry, the realization creeping in that the walls may be closing around him. Fear does not always make him reckless, but it does make him confront people directly, and Alexis becomes an obvious target of his anger. We can picture Michael seeking her out, accusing her of shielding Willow while leaving him exposed. His frustration is understandable, and perhaps even justified. On the night Drew was shot, Michael was there. That fact alone changes everything. We believe there is a strong possibility that Michael saw something, maybe even saw the shooter. If that shooter was Willow, then the silence becomes the most intriguing part of this puzzle. Why would Michael choose not to tell the truth? Is he protecting someone, or is he protecting himself? We do not yet know, and that uncertainty is what fuels the tension. Hypothetically, Michael's silence could be the key that either saves him or destroys him, depending on how and when the truth comes out. Drew, meanwhile, is not lying in wait as a passive victim. We are convinced he continues to push forward with his own agenda, and that agenda likely brings him back to Alexis once more. Drew understands leverage, and he knows exactly where Alexis is vulnerable. When he approaches her again, it may not be with anger, but with quiet pressure, the kind that leaves no room for refusal. He could demand something that goes against everything Alexis wants to do, yet the threat hanging over her is unmistakable. If she says no, she risks losing access to Scout. For Alexis, that is not an abstract fear. It is deeply personal. We see her cornered, forced to weigh her integrity against her role as a grandmother. In this situation, refusing Drew may feel impossible, because the price is simply too high. Scout herself becomes an emotional anchor in this storyline, even though she remains largely unaware of the battles being fought around her. We imagine her dealing with her own confusion about her father and her stepmother, sensing that something is wrong even if she cannot articulate it. She may be looking forward to spending time with Alexis, perhaps imagining a simple outing or a comforting routine that reminds her of stability. When Drew tells her that Alexis will not be coming, we suspect it is a lie carefully disguised as concern. He may say Alexis is busy, or that plans had to change, but we believe the truth is far more calculated. Drew is possibly the one actively preventing Alexis from seeing Scout, using the child as a bargaining chip. That manipulation adds another layer of darkness to his character, and it deepens the tragedy of Alexis's predicament. Away from the legal and familial conflicts, we turn to Anna, whose storyline takes on a more psychological and unsettling tone. We see her struggling with her health, and now with visions that blur the line between reality and illusion. When she sees Liesel appear and inject her with medication, it feels both comforting and terrifying. Then Faison appears as well, a figure who should not be there at all. These hallucinations suggest something deeper is wrong, and we cannot help but wonder if this is exactly what Sidwell wants. It is possible that Anna is being manipulated chemically, her mind altered without her consent. The question of Pascal's involvement becomes unavoidable. Is he acting under secret orders? Is the medication meant to heal or to control? Each hallucination Anna experiences raises the stakes, making us fear for her autonomy and her safety. Rumors swirl around Valentine, adding yet another layer of intrigue. According to unconfirmed leaks, he may finally visit Anna. On the surface, this seems like a moment of emotional reckoning, but nothing is ever that simple. We consider the possibility that Sidwell allows this visit as part of a larger scheme. If Valentine agrees to align himself with Sidwell, then the visit becomes a test of loyalty rather than an act of compassion. However, at this point in the official storyline, Sidwell and Valentine have not met, and no alliance has been formed. This gap between rumor and reality keeps us guessing, and we are left to wonder whether Valentine's intentions are purely personal or quietly strategic. Elsewhere, Kai moves in the shadows, and his role remains one of the most unpredictable. We sense that he may be reaching a breaking point, considering whether to confess what he knows. The question is not only what he knows, but who he trusts enough to tell. Confession brings consequences, and Kai must be aware of that. If he speaks, he risks becoming a target himself. Yet staying silent may weigh even heavier on him. We are left speculating about whether Kai chooses truth or self-preservation, and whether his decision will tip the balance of power in an unexpected direction. Finally, we cannot ignore the whispers surrounding Wiley. Children in this world often see and hear more than adults realize, and Wiley is no exception. We consider the possibility that he overheard something he was not meant to hear. Perhaps a conversation involving Willow that reveals more than she intended. If Wiley carries that information to Michael, it could change everything. It could explain Michael's silence, or shatter it completely. We cannot rule out this scenario, because secrets have a way of surfacing through the most innocent channels. As we step back from all these intersecting paths, we see a story driven by choices made under pressure, by truths withheld, and by loyalties tested. Each character believes they are acting out of necessity, yet those very actions pull them further into chaos. We are left with a sense that the fallout is inevitable, and that when it comes, it will not spare anyone. Possibly, the truth will emerge in fragments, hurting some while freeing others. Likely, alliances will shift, and lines once thought unbreakable will be crossed again. Hypothetically, redemption may still be possible for some, but only if they are willing to face the consequences head-on. As this chapter closes, we remain suspended in uncertainty, knowing that the next turn of events will force every character to confront the cost of the paths they have chosen.